Let us reflect about the school of the future. When we talk about the school of today, it is important to summarize and reflect about the following aspects. First, let's say that the technical evolution was very high, and the impact of new methodologies in the classroom, the teaching models available, and the school of today versus the school of the future. Let's have a look about it, and summarizing the technological evolution. We can say that since Socrates, as we have mentioned before, till our days, only an important evolution happens during 2,400 years. But during the last century, the evolution starts to be very, very, very fast. In 1943, the Mark I, the first computer from Harvard University, and in 70 years, the evolution was enormous to very tiny, small computers, thousands of times much more powerful and light, very, very light, portable. But in the meanwhile, other technological evolutions from the didactic communication point of view, the retroprojectors and the projectors. And distance learning. During the 20th century, from the 19th to the 20th century, an enormous evolution happens. First, in distance format using the post and other old technologies, and in the 70s, the open universities, TV schools and cassette videos, and in the last decade, an enormous step forward, e-learning. But e-learning has several generations, and these generations, e-learning 1.0, it was delivering the contents. After 2.0, interactivity, asynchronous interactivity, and finally synchronous interactivity with virtual classrooms and living activities. But the blended learning, it was as well important because it was a complementary aspect of it. Blended learning in a new format, asynchronous contents and the distributing contents on demand, and synchronous activities that can be presence or online. This is an evolution on the B-learning format from 10 years ago that was only presence and distance. And finally, according to Rosenberg, the enormous evolution, it is the disappearing of the E and the parallel evolution and the use of mix in, doesn't matter if it will be in presence or in distance teaching, we will use both technologies, more one or more the other, but we will use both technologies. And about the impact of new methodologies in the classroom. Let's reflect as well about it. But before we try to define what is the school of the future and necessary new models, let's reflect a little bit about the evolution from behaviorism to constructivism and what can we do in presence or in virtual environment. Let's have a look about it. When we talk about constructivism, we have three main steps. First, rules and molding. The first day your students are in your classroom or you are in virtual environment, you must define the rules to work. But not only the rules, it is necessary to mold them in order to follow these rules. The second step is teaching and teaching. But not only teaching, is as well training and know how to do. This is really important. But finally, you are in a moment that you can make an interrogation to your students and question them. If what you have taught is the real truth, do they have something else to add? Build your own knowledge. This is the challenge you can do now, because they have information, they know how to think, they know how to study, and they know how to criticize. This is constructivism, but in 3 steps. Another thing is, how do we implement this in our courses? Let's say that in the beginning we have present our contents, and when we are presenting our contents we need to use didactic communication tools. In written communication or in narration, we should know exactly how to structure our contents, or how to make a good narration, because our ears are listening much faster than our brain understand. So we must know these techniques of communication. Visual multimedia presentations are very important, because what we see normally in practice is very lousy presentations that are more a guide for the teachers than a communication tool to our students. Non-verbal communication as well important. You can communicate with your eyes, with your expression, with your body, but not only with your narration. And this is important for communicating. And special synthesis. You cannot write a text in the same way you are making a speech or a communication, or oral communication. You cannot make a text or a video using the same syntaxes. These are important tools that you, teacher, should know. But from the presentation to tutoring to formative assessment, these are another step, another challenging for you to motivate your students in a constructivist perspective. Tutoring is like guidance, is orientation. You should promote reflexivity to your students. And formative evaluation and assessment are as well the same thing. They are very important for the success of the teaching process. And about how should we organize a lesson profile? Let's reflect between what is absolutely necessary to make in presence, or we can make in presence or in virtual environment. When we present contents, we can make it in a virtual environment or in presence environment. When we make our tutoring, synchronous tutoring, you need to be presence or online. But asynchronous, you can use a platform, and no problem about it. Totally online. Interactivity and socialization amongst students and tutors, or in group work, presence or online. If you know how to do it, do it. It's fabulous. It's very challenging. And about assessment. For formative assessment, you need obviously online tools, because you cannot do it without it. But for summative evaluation, you can do it in certificative. You can make it on presence or online. That's all. This is the line, the highlights for the future. And about teaching models. What have been developed? In fact, several models has been developed to help and to guide the production of contents, to present contents, and as well to plan and develop e-learning courses. These models has been developed in a constructivist approach, but in fact the evolution of the technology and the methodologies, these models are not including guidance for synchronous activities, and it is very important in the future that these models would cover them. Let's have a look about several models available today. Several models are available, like Sally Johnson or L.E. Hanafman. Soilenmeyer, and Elementary Instructions and Principles by Merrill, and ARCS by John Killer. Because these models are not integrating synchronous virtual activities. In order to plan and develop e-learning courses are used the following models. Models of CAMP, R2D2 by Smiths, and many other. And about today we can say that we are living exponential times, and evolution was very slow in the beginning. Now it's very, very, very fast. Let's see some aspects. We can say in top 10 jobs in demand in 2010 did exist in 2004, like social media strategists, user experience specialists, telework, and many, many other types of work that it existed 10 years before. For students starting a 4-year technology degree, this means that half of what they have learned in the first year will be outdated by the third year of study. And this is the enormous evolution that is changing in such speed that things are changing. We are currently preparing students for jobs that didn't or don't exist yet, and using technologies that haven't been invented, and to solve problems that we don't even know that they are problems yet. This is the overview of today. And what is our challenge on changing things and teachers preparing ourselves for the future? United States Labor Department estimates that today learners with 30 years old will have between 10 and 14 jobs. And we can say that a teacher, besides being an expert in specific scientific areas, he should have as well a new toolkit, a box with, he should have pedagogical skills to be a good teacher of the future. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm glad to be with you. And make your questions in our community of the School of the Future, and they will be always answered. Thank you very much.